This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. I smell panic in the air. With the news of Prince Andrew being stripped of all of his titles, there is this hustle of getting Prince Harry back into the fold. The question is, where is this hustle coming from? Is it coming from Meghan in California? Is it coming from King Charles? I mean, when we look at everything that's transpired with Prince Andrew, the fact that the king has now decided to strip Andrew of all of his titles after the bad press that we were seeing against Prince William. And now we're starting to find out that Prince William really was the driving force behind taking care of the Prince Andrew mess. Like, we know that Prince Harry has no intention of staying in the United States. I mean, he recently said that on the Hassan Minhaj interview podcast that he just did when he was asked, do you plan on becoming a citizen? And he outright said, no, not at this time. What's interesting to me is this announcement that King Charles is going to start this process with, I guess, Parliament to go through and start legally removing these titles. Being that this is a process, why didn't King Charles at the same time do the same thing for Harry and Meghan? With everybody saying that Harry and Meghan are next, I just don't see that happening anytime soon, because why would you go ahead and start this process, which I'm going to guess is going to take some time to fully legally remove Andrew from everything? Why not kill two birds with one stone and include Harry and Meghan at the same time? I'm assuming that there's going to have to be a session in Parliament to discuss this and start the actual formal process. One would think, let's not waste Parliament's time in having a second session to discuss removing titles for the royal family. You know what I mean? So it has me thinking a little bit harder here with what is the strategy, not only with the institution and the future of the monarchy, and who is going to be representing the monarchy, but also with what is going on with Harry and Meghan. As we have been seeing over the last couple months, there has been a lot of media coming out and discussions about reconciliation and Harry wanting to spend more time in the UK. I mean, it's clear that they are carving this path for Harry to get back. But now with these recent events, you have to wonder what is really going on and who is really in charge. Is Charles making these decisions, or is it really William who is putting his foot down and saying enough is enough? And the reason why I am saying that it feels like there's desperation in the air is because of the media that's now coming out, especially here in the United States with our tabloids and Meghan's go-to magazine named Star Magazine, with this now on its cover for the week. So now whoever the forces are behind Harry and Meghan are trying to rope Catherine into this so-called reconciliation. And I don't know if this is being done to piss William off, or is Catherine now going to be a part of the narrative in making it digestible for the Brits to welcome Harry back? I don't know. But it does feel like this was put out not by Meghan Markle's people, but by Prince Harry's people. And we're going to go through this in a second, but before I do, please help the kid out and hit that like button and just double check to make sure that you're not unsubscribed. We all know how YouTube likes to treat this channel. All right, let's go ahead and dig into this and see if we can figure out where this article is coming from and what may be the angle that they're trying to achieve here. The article begins. During his September visit to Ukraine with the Invictus Games Foundation, Prince Harry met with wounded soldiers and shared words of encouragement that underscored the importance of family. Just 2 days earlier, the Duke of Sussex had reunited face-to-face with his father, King Charles III, their first meeting since Harry learned of the monarch's cancer diagnosis more than 18 months earlier, lending his remarks an added significance. You will feel lost at times, like you lack purpose, but however dark those days are, there is light at the end of the tunnel, Harry told the vets. You just need to look for it, because there will always be someone, a mother, father, sibling, friend, or comrade, there to pick you up. His wife, Meghan, 44, and their children, Archie, 6, and Lily, 4, have certainly been there for Harry amid the Sussexes' estrangement from senior members of Harry's family, including Charles, 76, and brother Prince William, 43, in the wake of their shocking move to California nearly 6 years ago. But Starr has learned they aren't the only ones who have his interests at heart. Harry has been back in touch with Kate, and I'll call her Catherine for the sake of being respectful, for a while now, and it's a very much a two-way street, says a source, making the stunning revelation that the 40-year-old Duke and his once close sister-in-law, the Princess of Wales, 43, have secretly been texting, emailing, and chatting on the phone every so often. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second. I find that really hard to believe. However, maybe they have been. Maybe Harry reached out and Meghan doesn't know, or maybe Meghan does know and here she is leaking it to Star magazine. It began when Catherine faced a life-altering health crisis last year, says the source. Harry and Meghan caused a lot of hurt when, in a series of interviews, a Netflix docuseries, and his 2023 memoir Spare, they accused his loved ones of fueling palace courtiers' attacks on them in the UK press, leading them to leave Britain in 2020. The resulting feelings of betrayal, anger, and hurt, says the source, seemed poised to end their relationship forever. But when Catherine, like Charles, was diagnosed with an undisclosed form of cancer in early 2024, Harry quietly reached out with supportive words of encouragement, says the source. That meant the world to Catherine, who in January announced she was in remission. She needed all the love and kindness she could get back then, and Harry offered plenty. They used to be so close, along with sharing unflattering private anecdotes about his family in Spare, which further drove a wedge between the Sussexes and the Windsors. Harry also detailed his affection for Catherine. I liked his new girlfriend. He wrote of meeting William's college classmate more than 20 years earlier. She was carefree, sweet, kind. When William wed Catherine in 2011, Harry felt he'd gained the sister I'd never had and always wanted, he wrote, and I was pleased that she'd forever be standing by Willie's side. She was a good match for my older brother. They made each other visibly happy, and therefore I was happy too. The fondness was mutual. Catherine saw Harry as this mischievous but extremely lovable younger brother, says the source. In turn, adds the source, he'd always ask her advice. He looked at Catherine as the voice of reason. It was a natural move to reconnect with her when he was looking for help reconciling with his father. Life is precious, he told the BBC in May after he lost a court battle to restore state-funded security for his young family in the UK. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff, but it would be nice to reconcile. 2 months later, there were signs of a thaw. In July, Harry's rep met with Charles's senior courtiers in what was described as a secret peace summit, a first step towards rebuilding the king's strained and, for years, practically non-existent relationship with his second son. Then in September, the Duke and his father spent nearly an hour together over tea at Charles's London home. Days later, it was clear there had been a shift when Harry told a reporter in Ukraine that this next year, the focus really has to be on my dad. Much of the credit can go to Catherine, says the source. She was instrumental in helping Harry and Charles forge a path forward. She'd been chipping away at both of them, saying it's imperative Harry has a relationship with his father, especially as Charles continues cancer treatment. The consensus within the royal fold is that these talks would never have happened if it weren't for Catherine, adds the source. She vouched for Harry with Charles, saying he's learned from his mistakes. At the same time, she was able to assure Harry it was worthwhile to approach his father. She knew Charles missed Harry very, very much, even if William isn't on board. By all accounts, the Prince of Wales remains unmoved on the subject of Harry, whom he hasn't spoken to in years. He's opposed to his brother rejoining the family in any way, shape, or form, explains the source. That does put Catherine in a difficult spot. Ultimately, she's been torn between her brother in law and her husband. At the end of the day, Catherine will always support William, confirms the source, but she will also put the interests of the monarchy first. She sees the bigger picture. Namely, she knows how important image is to the institution and is wise enough to know that a king estranged from his son isn't the legacy the crown deserves. It helped that Harry has softened his stance. During peace talks, says the source, he's made clear his public criticisms have been about what he calls accountability and truth, and that his book was not revenge, but a series of corrections to stories already out there. But according to the source, everything could change if Harry promises there won't be any more attacks on the royals, that he'll work hard to regain their trust and respect their wishes in terms of diplomacy and discretion. That, adds the source, is seen as a huge help in terms of negotiations, especially if he agrees to make most, if not all, of his upcoming trips to the UK without Meghan. And Harry seems to be okay with separating her from these discussions. Catherine's optimistic, adds the source, but also a little cynical, especially about the notion he'll exclude Meghan. She's all too aware of how much Harry listens to his wife and does what he's told, says the source. Meghan, who hasn't returned to the UK since Queen Elizabeth II's 2022 funeral, is said to be skeptical of a lasting reconciliation. While the former Suits star supports Harry's reconnecting with his father, there are fears his recent moves are fueling tensions in his already delicate marriage, the source confirms. He and Meghan have been on separate paths of late, with Harry leaning into his own philanthropic initiatives, frequently traveling outside the States to highlight his charitable work, while Meghan forges ahead reinventing herself as a businesswoman, promoting her, as ever, food product line and with Love Meghan Netflix entertaining series amid speculation a fashion or beauty brand will be next. Meghan is furious that he's crawling back to his family and making promises to sweeten the possibility of a return to the fold, says the source. To her, it's cut and dried. If they're disrespected, the offenders deserve to be cut off indefinitely. That's what she's done with her own relatives, including her father and half-siblings. She just doesn't want Harry to be manipulated or taken for a fool. Okay, what do you guys think of this? Obviously, we can't take the story seriously. However, we do know that the royal family, including Harry and Meghan, use the media to create certain optics. I'm going back and forth on this one. Did Harry put this one out here to make nice with Catherine and show that he is serious about reconciliation? Or did Meghan put this out here to leak this information of possibly Harry communicating with Catherine behind the scenes? At the bottom of this article, as you can see, it's like attacking Catherine all over again, rehashing all the narratives that Harry and Meghan had told, which a lot of it was just not believable. So, is Meghan trying to double down here to continue to rub in Catherine's face that she, did this to her and smeared her like this? Maybe. Is Meghan trying to piss William off? I mean, I can see the angle here with her doing that, not only leaking and exposing that maybe Harry is talking to Catherine behind the scenes and trying to sabotage this reconciliation, and then on top of it, rehashing all of the harmful accusations that they made against Catherine. Now, I would think Harry has reached out to Catherine. Do I believe that they've been texting back and forward? No, I don't. But I do think that Catherine does have a really big heart and she is very forgiving. And maybe, just maybe, the dynamic is a little bit different than what we're being told. I mean, so far, we have not been told the truth about any of this. So, who's to say that this is not happening behind the scenes? Maybe not to the degree that they're describing it as, but I would think that Harry might have reached out to Catherine when she was diagnosed with cancer to say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Please stay positive. Or maybe this is intentional distraction to keep us from talking about Andrew. For all we know, this could be a story coming from Sarah Ferguson. Yeah, there's quite a bit of evidence out there that Sarah Ferguson has been playing the same games that Meghan plays. Now, there's one thing for sure that I'm seeing from this article, and that is the use of Catherine now to soften this idea of Harry coming back into the fold. Remember, I said that we were going to start to see these articles coming out about how Harry got an invite to Sandringham for Christmas, and it's Charles's dying wish to have his whole family there for one last Christmas because they don't know how much longer he has. He might not make it to another Christmas. Yeah, I anticipate seeing more headlines of Catherine being the one to bring the family together and repair this broken relationship that the brothers have. And before you know it, in 2026, we have maybe the brothers talking. And that's why I'm raising this flag here and saying, well, why didn't they strip the Sussex's title at the same time that they're doing Andrew? So this is something to keep our eyes on. We still have this stuff going on here in the United States with Congress and them doing the investigation into this censorship complex. Will he be called out for it? That's to be seen. Hopefully he will. But, the way that I see this going is that they're hustling to get Harry back home. Whoever it is, whether it be Harry might be hustling to get back home. And part of all of this facade management is trying to ease that path for him to get back. Those are just my thoughts on what I'm seeing here. But what do you guys think about all of this? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.